Next up is my review for the game Citizen Sleeper that came out in 2022. I'm going through my backlog of games that I heard were like really, really good in 2022 that I didn't get a chance to play. So I'm trying to like catch up and play through some of those. And one of which is the game. It's a dystopian space station survival RPG called Citizen Sleeper. This game is available on PC, I think exclusively. So there's nowhere else you can play it. But Steam says that this game is a game where you roleplay in the ruins of interplanetary capitalism, live the life of an escaped worker washed up on a lawless station at the edge of an interstellar society. Inspired by the flexibility and freedom of TTRPGs, which I think is tabletop roleplaying games, of course, as you know. Explore the station, choose your friends, escape your past, and change your future. So this game opens up and you start out on the space station, and like the way the design is set up is like there's this. It's almost like a Halo ring space station, so it's circular, but you're looking at the inside of the ring, and it revolves around. So when you move the map, essentially, you're moving the map on this like rotational disc that's circular, but again, you're on the inset of that ring. And you start out where you can only look at a couple of things, but basically you have this like 3D world that you're looking down on from an isometric view, and there's a bunch of icons, and each icon has a different like thing you can like click on to look at, and there are different like
There's
points
a lot of
reading
reading in this game.
It's a
Brett's
reading
kind of game.
It's a
game.
It's a reading game, yes. So
How do you sit and read all that?
so you click into like an area and you can learn about like what's available to do in that little region. So sometimes it's just you have this little clock. So essentially the whole like gist of this game is that you're this like robot that has a sentient mind inside of it, which is why you're called a sleeper. So you're a robot character that's got like this sentient mindset inside there, and people don't like sleepers. You're not a fan here because most of the people you're talking to are like humans, I believe, throughout everywhere. But you're like this weird like
care
robot
of the space station?
No. You're trying to like make money and not get like kicked off and like booted off. Like you don't want to get booted off.
You don't want to get booted off.
So there's not many laws here.
Us.
There's no good like prison shit going on. No, it's not Among Us.
I know.
Yeah. It's like, think of it like kind of like a cyberpunk kind of vibe where it's like you're this character that's like down on their luck, struggling to survive. You need to make some cash. You need to get out there, and like shit is not good in this world. That's essentially what you got going on, just like in cyberpunk. So
this is just like Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Well, it's a cyberpunk kind of game. That's what it is. Yeah. Dystopian future kind of thing. I mean, it's that genre in a sense. But it's also like this whole like sci-fi dystopian thing going on too. But the game starts you on the space station. You don't really know what's going on here, so you're trying to like learn. You start working with this guy that like lets you like sleep literally inside of this like shipping container. Like that's the only place he's got. So like you can sleep there, and then you can go out and like start to like just find ways to make money. And then eventually you can like get more money and unlock more connections with people in the space station by like doing deals with them or like, you know, making arrangements or whatever, helping people out, and you are able to unlock more areas and get more space, and eventually you get to the point where you can unlock an apartment, so you actually have your own facility. But the setup is one part text story, so you're like reading information, and the other part is like a random chance choice making kind of scenario with dice rolling. So it's very much like a D&D kind of configuration where, you know, normally when you're playing D&D, your dungeon master is reading the story to you, and then you are reacting to said thing. Instead, you are physically reading the story, and you make choices as you go, as the story is developed, to say like, oh, I'm going to do this instead in this encounter, or I'm going to do this, and then that'll play out and completely change the narrative arc of that experience. And then when you're out in the main world area, you get past that story beat that you're doing, you have every cycle, which a cycle is basically a day. And cycles basically dictate the progression through the storyline. And as cycles progress, you have this bar across the top that depletes because you're losing sanity. So like because you're like this robot with a sentient mind inside, you need to like inject yourself with some kind of like they call it like I forgot what they call it, but it's some kind of injection that you need to buy that brings you back to full health. Otherwise, you start to fade. And as you start to fade, you lose the amount of dice that you get each cycle to play with in order to do things in the world. So you got to make sure that bar stays up so that you're not fading, so you're not about to like lose sanity and like become like, you know, like in Cyberpunk, a cyber psycho. You're trying to avoid that from happening. You're also, there's a food bar, so you have to like keep yourself well fed. So you got to go eat food and keep that bar up, because that'll also affect the dice that you get. And that's like some of the management you're doing of your character. But each day you wake up, you have up to 5 dice rolls, and those are randomly generated when you first start. So you have 1 through 6. 6 is the best, so that's going to give you a guaranteed positive outcome on whatever you do. 1, you have a random chance of that giving you good or bad. So you go into an area and like you have like different tasks you can do. So maybe there's like a section where there's like a shipment that's come in from like a freighter, and you have the option to either do work on the shipment, like offer your services, and then they will in turn give you money, or you can like rummage through the shipment and see if you can find something and like steal something essentially out of it. So if you were to do that path, you drop in one of your 5 dice based on the type of chance you want to take on the outcome. So if you put in like a 6-roll dice, you're going to have 100% positive outcome on that result. So you're going to get something good. So you're going to get some benefit back. You might get some money. You might get whatever. If you put in like, let's say like a 4 or a 5 dice, you'll have like a 50% chance at positive, 50% chance at neutral. Once you get lower, you might have like a 50% chance at positive, 50% negative, that kind of situation. So it's a lot of like chances of what are the outcomes you're going to get with different situations. And you never know until you throw that dice in there and run with it, and you see what happens. So as you go through these different things, you'll have these like cycle bars that represent like where next bits of progression are going to take place in that area. So you'll have like a region that you're at that lets you should just play the video also. Oh, you are playing a video. Oh, it's just running.
This is the
I thought
video.
You paused it. My bad.
This
is the game.
Video. Are we missing something
Yeah,
here?
no, this one, this guy's just taking forever to read is what's going on there. That's what's going on.
He just sucks.
They should be able to read faster than that. So there's certain things that you can click into that you'll see this little cycle bar, and as you like do things within that realm, it'll advance the cycle bar up further and further. And then once you get that bar fully ramped up, so like on this video here, you guys can't see this, but so y'all know there's a little cycle bar on the bottom left. You'll notice if you do something, it'll progress that bar forward. You'll keep doing that, and that'll progress upward. And once it progresses to the point of filling the bar up, it'll unlock a story beat in that area. And then that's when you can then click in there and then like go through some dialogue and then make some decisions and progress forward in that sense. And then there's also this thing that you unlock later on that's really interesting, where you can flip the map and get to the point where you go kind of like to the underground part of the map, and there's these agents that you can basically like hack essentially. So if you have a dice that coordinates to the agent's dice roll, you can match that, bypass their security, and unlock some data from that type of agent. So there's like 3 different types of agents that you can pull from. There's like Havenage, and then there's like, I forgot the other ones, but there's a couple of different types of them, and you pull data from them that you can then use later on to make like deals with like people in the black market who are like, oh, if you give me information about these, you know, corrupt agents or whatever, then I'll give you XYZ in return, kind of thing. And you can make those like arrangements with different people. And you just go through this whole process every single day. So you go through your 5 dice, you spend your money, whatever you want to do. And then when you're done, you end your cycle, which means you go to sleep. You wake up the next day, refill those dice bars, go and get your food, and then continue forward with the story. And it's like really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm really digging it. Like
I'm glad you are, man. This is tough.
I mean,
I just don't see the appeal.
There's no character. There is a character, but you don't see the character.
Not your character.
It's just an overview of the whole map, and you accomplish tasks throughout using your dice rolls against certain things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And you unlock story beats, like I said, after you like fill up those cycles.
Is there?
And you're introduced into a bunch of new characters. Like I've already met like 15 or 20 characters in this world.
Wow, you played it that much.
Yeah. I got about 6 or 7 hours into it so far.
Damn, man.
And
Is there multiple outcomes?
thousands.
Jeez.
Yeah. Like there's tons of outcomes. I say thousands. It might be hundreds. I don't know. There's not like 2 outcomes in this game.
There's not.
There's
there
like a
can't
boatload
be.
of outcomes. Yeah. It's all like story driven, like you know, branching, which is what one of the benefits.
And
this is like This game is a lot like Disco Elysium. That's what everybody's comparing it to. This is about as good of a narrative branching story RPG as Disco Elysium was. It's not as good as Disco Elysium, but it's the next best thing. It's as close as you can get to what that was. And that game, that was like getting top honors, game of the years, and all that stuff back then. Yeah. But it's not for everybody because it is a lot of reading.
It is. So no dialogue.
No dialogue. It's reading dialogue.
It's reading. Well, of
There's
course.
no voices.
No voices.
Yeah.
You're reading conversations.
Yeah.
You're making decisions.
There's good music. The music's great.
I hope
Music's
so. I hope
solid.
it's not like Silent.
Yeah, it's very chill. It's very relaxing.
This is a silent room.
Citizen Sleeper. I would be sleeping.
Like I said, it's not for you.
Brett,
it's not for you, but I think it's
definitely
highly
for you.
recommended for a lot of people.
How is this a game for anybody?
It's a game for. I'm not.
Dude,
I'm
it's got
not
good
gonna,
reviews, bro.
Yeah, I'm
No
not going
offense.
to knock this game. I can see its appeal, but it's just.
I don't see any appeal.
Boy, that was.
But that's
There's
just me.
2,600 reviews on here, and it's got a very positive rating.
Is it better than Forspoken?
Oh yeah,
Review wise,
Oh yeah,
like stated, like
yeah. There's like one negative review I saw on here, but like. So this guy said,
Was it Jason?
this guy here has 17 hours on record. One of the best stories I've played in years. Combined with the excellent immersive music and futuristic art design, this game is something that keeps you engaged and wanting more the whole time. Let's see here. This person's got 15 hours. It's not a game. It's a story. When I came close to finishing the game, I was desperately wanting one more quest or one more meaningful thing to do. It's like a point-and-click story game, and this is a good one. And that's where this thing really, really gets into it. It's like there were several times where I almost kind of gave up on it because again, it's a lot of reading to do. But like legit, like if you want a good story, this is one of the best damn stories you ever play in games. Like it's incredible. It's such a good story. It does have a
better review than Forspoken.
All right,
80%.
What's happening, Brett? In your story, tell me what's happening.
He just did.
Yeah, I just told you.
He told you everything.
You're this guy that comes here as this.
I must have just.
You got to read it, man. You got to read it. Damn it.
Yeah. See, this is where we differ because you can read these stories, and I want to be shown and not necessarily told, but like I want the cinematic. Like that's what video games has been for me. Like I want to keep seeing that. I don't want to sit there.
Clearly not. You got a lot of it. Marvel's Midnight Suns we're about to talk about. You're like, no, I don't want that.
Well, there's a way to do it, and there's a wrong way to do it.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you're gonna continue playing this?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna finish it.
Are you gonna replay it?
No.
Okay. What are you?
I just
playing
don't replay games. You know.
What are you playing it on?
PC.
PC.
Yeah. The other thing that's kind of cool too is
for your.
It's got. Yeah, I know. I
Deck.
thought about it, but I was worried it was gonna be too small, like to read. But
Okay.
I'm gonna try it actually on my Steam Deck because I think it would be a pretty good Steam Deck game to play. The other thing that's interesting about it too is so you create a character at the beginning. You have 3 characters to choose from because it's very much like a D&D kind of setup. So you pick one of the 3 different characters, and each one has like a different perk ability. So one is like more focused on like engineering focused things. The other one's more like tech focused. And the other one is like, I think it's just like charisma or something like that. I forgot what that one was. I went with the engineer character. But as the objectives, the quests are called data drives. So you get a data drive objective to do. So some of them are very cut and dry that it says, go talk to this person and then give them X, Y, and Z item, and then you'll finish that data drive. And once you complete that, you get a skill point. Other ones are very broad that it's like help out person X. And that just means you go through cycles and continue to help them and do quests for them. And eventually it'll give you like, hey, you finished this and you completed it. So they could take like 5 or 6 cycles to go through and complete, but you'll get skill points for that too. And those skill points help you unlock the skill tree that gives you different abilities and benefits. Like one of the benefits I get is from one of the skills that I upgraded is I get to preview what my possible rewards will be from a positive outcome in all those different scenarios, which is really helpful because it's like, okay, here I'm going to get money, I'm going to get this item and whatever. So it's like I definitely want to put a 6 dice in here to get those positive outcomes and stuff like that. So it's like
it's chance and a little bit of strategy on where you want to put your dices.
Yeah, for sure. I think if you don't mind reading and you love D&D and you love story, this is a perfect game to pick up.
It's a lot of stuff combined together.
It's $20, so it's not full price.
That's good.
It's a cheap game, and I think it's a really, really well done game with just a fantastic storyline, very interesting, a lot of good characters and stuff like that. Interesting twists and turns that, like again, like I almost gave up with it the other night, and then I had this like crazy twist happen. I was like, fuck, that just happened? Holy shit. And then I start playing more, and next thing you know, like 3 hours have gone by, and I'm like, whoa, like I'm still playing this game that I thought I was going to quit playing like 3 hours ago, you know? So it's pretty fascinating. So
right. Game of the year.
Check it out. Not game of the year, but it's very good.
Good Lord.
Sweet.
I'm sorry, Brad.
Citizen Sleeper.
I'm glad you enjoyed that game. I'm not gonna hate you on it.
Yeah, you better not.
I said I wasn't. It's just
I see you guys judging over there.
it is not my
I
game.
feel it.
Oh.
You know, when I started this game, I was like, I got a 50% chance of a positive or negative reaction from you guys, and I knew I was going to get the 50%.
50% chance.
Did you roll a dice for that one?
Yeah, I know.
Oh no! All I had was ones to put in the slot, so I
Yes,
knew
you
I was going to
did.
get negative on
Yeah.
this one.
I didn't give you a negative.
Oh, I feel the negative coming.
You
I feel the
should.
negative energy over here.
Oh yeah, you can see it. Just
Yeah.
like Life is Strange.
So, Life is Strange is great, bro. Great.
You see the red.
Y'all
coming off of us?
just, you know, you're
Say it.
you just like certain types of
dumb.
games, you know.
Can't read.
Yeah, you're dumb. Yeah, just kidding. No, you're not. No, it's a great game, but it's not for everybody. So, you know, if you don't like reading, don't play this game.
Okay.
And you know, I'm a
Get a
reader.
book.
I read everything in
cheaper.
Gotham Knights. You know
Can
what I
someone
mean?
just
So,
give me an overview of the story online of like beginning to end on their playthrough?
He gave you the story.
yeah.
He said
I don't remember anything. I just remember that you're talking about you have to complete missions and you get dice and then
I heard your story.
Stuff
Thank you.
happens.
Thank you.
Here's the
Appreciate
story.
that.
your character has to sleep in a fucking box.
Hey, you heard that? Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
it.
Washed up.
That's all I
man.
got.
He's an AI
down on your
person.
luck, bro.
He's a robot / human with a brain, and he could go insane and be a full robot, and he has to make sure he's
Cyberpunk.
not, or he goes cyber.
Cyber Psycho.
Sounds phenomenal, Brett.
Yeah, but what happened in your story? Like, where are you at right now? Are you about to go Cyber Psycho or no?
No, I haven't gone cyber psycho. I'm at the point where I just unlocked this new area, and I've got an apartment. So I have an apartment now, and I'm trying to like get a bunch of data from all the different like underground people, like the Havenage and all these different people, because I'm trying to. Well, one, I found a cat, so I'm trying to befriend this cat. So that's like a side story I'm working on because that's I want to have a cat. I'm thinking stray, dystopian, all that stuff. And then I have another guy who wants me to give him enough information about these people, so then he's going to help me get more data to help out this other guy that I've been working with who is trying to help me. What I'm trying to do is break through the whatever the thing is that's causing me to have the degradation. And if I have to get this like chip or something to put in my body that'll stop that from happening. And if I can get that, then I can continue to go through. I don't have to worry about the bar dropping and stuff like that all the time. So that's been like my main goal up to this point. And then in the meantime, I'm also working with like trying to befriend some of these different people in these different areas to get all this information to then unlock more money and complete more of these data drive things ultimately. So yeah.
So, what's one ending to the story?
I don't know.
He hasn't gotten there yet.
I haven't
You
finished it yet.
You haven't looked up reviews and seen
No,
what they say?
I don't want to be ruined, but I don't want it to be ruined.
You said there's hundreds of outcomes, so how could it be ruined?
It would
What are the
be.
chances that you get the same outcome?
Yeah, I don't
as
know,
someone
man.
else's?
I will say here's a couple of things that people have said. So from The Guardian, they said that there are far more stories to tell in this fascinating universe, and this is some of the finest video game sci-fi writing out there. From Waypoint, Citizen Sleeper stands out as one of the best games of the year, with great writing that avoids easy outs. From Screen Rant, Citizen Sleeper is fantastic. It's a deep and well-crafted narrative experience with a fascinating setting, and is filled with plenty of challenging questions for players to ponder over. This is a game that gets cyberpunk right,
It sounds like the same people who voted for Elden Ring to be Game of the Year.
which is an incredible game. I was. I'm just saying. It's an incredible game. So I finished recently Edge Runners, right? I watched the whole thing.
Nice.
If you like Edge Runners, this is Edge Runners on crack.
Well, yeah, you have to be on crack to read all that.
Yeah. It's because Edge Runners is a little hokey and a lot of it goes anime, there's like some hokey stuff going on there.
Definitely.
But it's got a lot of that same like kind of character and vibe. Like there's that stuff happening here, but on a more nuanced level. Like Edge Runners is like going for show and like, oh, big explosions, this, that, whatever.
yeah.
It's like not, it's not as, this is a very deep storytelling that goes deeper than Edge Runners ever did in their story. Which, I mean, there's some good deep stuff in there. I love some of the twists and turns that happen in Edge Runners. but this goes so much more nuanced, so much more detailed. So if you like that kind of like storytelling there, this takes it so much further than like Edge Runners did. But again, you have to read it. So
I kind of want to get it just so I can shit on it if I really don't like it.
You probably won't because it's reading.
Hey, well, look, okay, tell me this. This might help me a little bit. When you go from like day to day, or go from person to person, or mission to mission, or area to area, is there different music, or is it just kind of like the same music? Like how do you know like things are changing? Like, oh, I'm getting closer to being a cyber psycho. Does the music kind of intensify? Like, oh shit, it's gonna happen. Might happen tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not that intense. It's not that like anxiety inducing. Because I've never had it go below half. Because I'm always pretty quickly at like loading it up and trying to like make sure I keep that thing up there. Because again, you lose dice from having that bar drop.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't want to have only 2 dice to play that cycle. Because then it's just like, okay, I'm just running through cycles like crazy. So the first priority is to make sure I have all those bars like maxed out. So I haven't gone to that point to where it like gets to that level of craziness. Yeah. But if it gets down to the bottom, you die.
Well, yeah. But I mean, does the music change? Like, how is the story presented audio wise?
Yeah, there's some different music and stuff. It's the same kind of music when you're like just like exploring through the world. But then like when you go like into the underground, like that music shifts. When you start doing like dialogue changes, there's going to be some changes in music there, and there's some different like audio cues that come in based off of like different types of outcomes that take place and stuff like that. And then like as you progress further through the world, like you're unlocking more of the disc. So like you start out and just like you only have like 5 things you can do, and then you have to like pay money to like open up the next section. And when you open up the next section, then there's like a whole bunch more stuff that like opens up, and you can revolve the disc around more, and you can see more stuff. But there is some musical cues. I'm trying to remember because last time I played it was like last Saturday, so it's been a minute. But I'm trying to remember if there was any changes as you go from environment. I think there's different music when you go into like a specific section. So like for example, there's this one area you go to that's kind of like the market of the station, and when you go to the market, I believe the audio changes a little bit to the music changes to like match that tone of that space. But when you're just like running through the disc and stuff like that, it's the same kind of audio that's kind of like playing through, but it's very subtle and kind of like background music, but it sounds really good. It's a cool kind of vibe to it. But there is a full soundtrack to this. So there is like musical changes that take place in different areas and stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, Citizen Sleeper. Check it out, everybody, if you like reading and D&D and cyberpunk.
Hey, do they have accessibility for someone to read it to me?
That's a good question. I actually don't know. That might be a possibility. I think so.
Even if it's just a robot, like, this is what's happening here, and she said this.
The cat sets me out.
I'd play it then.